A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3.
Coffee and
COVID.
Morning, everyone.
Hi, I'm Deidre, founder and fixer at the PR company.
And I'm Taylor, a PR executive here at the PR company. Grab your coffee, water, or whatever you drink in the morning to get your day started and get comfy because we're talking COVID.
Here at the PR company, we decided to bring some light into the circumstances we have all been facing, while also staying aware of how businesses, small or big, have been affected and are changing their workflows.
So let's get into chaos, COVID, and communication with Morgan Martino of Recovery Brands. All right. Hi, I'm Taylor.
I'm Deidre.
And this is our first guest.
Hello, I'm Morgan.
Hi, Morgan.
Hi, Morgan.
Cheers to coffee
Cheers.
and COVID.
Okay, so for starters, what are you drinking today? What's your coffee order?
So this morning I'm just drinking like regular medium roast coffee, and I've added some oat milk, honey, and cinnamon, and it is pretty delicious.
Wow.
We always say here, you can tell a lot about a person by their order. And I think that's true. It stands for it, and we'll get more into that.
Yeah.
I feel like Morgan's fancy.
Morgan's so fancy. Did you see her cup? Let's see the cup again.
Personalized.
So cute.
Well, I have a Starbucks cup
Nice.
filled with Italy's finest coffee, Illy. So it has creamer and plenty of sugar.
Plenty of sugar. I have my matcha again. I didn't add vanilla sweetener this time. I was just being like, let's be a little bit more healthy. But I do have coconut milk and not whole milk.
Nice. Love
Yeah.
coconut milk.
Yeah. No dairy. So what would you rather do? Would you rather make your own coffee or have it like a Starbucks or whatever your local coffee shop is?
Normally like weekdays, like on my way out the door, I'm just like making my coffee and I'll just throw some oat milk in it and then go. But like if it's the weekend and I'm out and about, it's like midday, I need a little pick-me-up, I'll normally just go to a local coffee shop and order like a chai latte or something like that.
Yeah, something that you don't make at home.
Right, like that I can't do myself, like something a little bit special.
I feel like it's better when somebody else makes it, no matter what it is.
Definitely.
Okay, so getting more into the nitty gritty, we wanted to know where you work, what you do, and what is everything about why we are interviewing you today, and what's your role?
Definitely. So I work at a sustainable apparel company called Recovery Brands, and we sell mostly t-shirts, sweatshirts, accessories, things like that, but everything is made from 100% recycled materials. So our hoodies, our t-shirts, our sports shirts are made from either recycled plastic, so post-consumer water bottles, PET, or upcycled cotton. So everything is 100% recycled, which is awesome. And there I am the marketing coordinator and customer service. So I help on our like social media side, our email marketing side, and then handling things with customers as well.
Well, you're just like us, except for that
Yeah.
sustainable brand. Although we are a sustainable brand because we sustained COVID.
That is true.
I think a lot of people have a misconception about what the feel might be of products that are recycled, made from recycled products.
Yeah.
Talk about, like, is it comfy? Do you want to be in that sweatshirt, or does it feel like you're wearing a plastic bottle?
Definitely. And that's a really popular question that people ask either when they call in to ask about our products or email in. And the answer is that it feels just like your any other like t-shirt, your everyday wear t-shirt or a sports shirt that you go to work out in. It's moisture wicking, dry fit. So basically we have two main products. And so I'm wearing our 50/50 classic tee right now. So as you can tell, it just looks like a normal t-shirt. So this shirt is made from 50% recycled plastic bottles, and then 50% upcycled cotton. So that's where it gets like a little bit softer. And then our sport line is made from 100% recycled plastic bottles. And basically recycled PET is going to be like just like any other polyester. It's just non-virgin. So it's coming from recycled materials opposed to brand new materials, you know, that are using resources, more energy and everything like that. But they're very soft. They feel just like any other shirt you would wear.
And what's the website?
Recoverbrands.com.
Recoverbrands.com. I like the name.
Mm-hmm.
So what were or are your fears about the pandemic on a personal and a professional level? I know you said Charlotte earlier when we were talking is in a fairly good place right now. So what were your fears, or, you know, if they're still going on?
Yeah, so I guess my fears initially, like everyone else, there was just so many unknowns about this pandemic and like what, you know, how bad it was actually going to be. And then you're just getting like pummeled with so much information right after each other. It's hard to kind of get a grasp. So my initial fears were just obviously for my health, the health of my family and friends. Like if I was to get infected, like I wouldn't want to infect someone else, or like how do I know if I'm infected or how contagious it is. But you know, as more information's kind of come out and we've learned a little bit more about it, those fears have kind of resided. And I'm not as worried about that anymore. Obviously, if you're older, have a predisposed condition, you know, proceed with more caution. But I'm kind of feeling better the more and more we get through this together. But professionally, I mean, you know, I've had some friends who've been furloughed or been fired in general. So that was one of my initial fears, was like, is this going to happen to me? Luckily, luckily the company I work for is amazing and everyone was kept on, and that wasn't an issue. The main issue is just kind of pivoting our business, because we do have kind of like branded apparel that we'll sell online, but the bulk of our business, the bread and butter, really comes from wholesale sales. So we can do custom t-shirts for events, races, restaurants, other brands, things like that. So, you know, our largest sales would come from, you know, festivals in the summer or these road races that have thousands of participants. So when COVID
gone kaput.
Yeah, so when COVID hit, like it was pretty scary. Like all of these, you know, orders that we had were just being canceled one after the other. So it's like, what are we gonna do now? Luckily, we were able to pivot, and since we kind of have a lot of different streams of income from all the people we work with at a wholesale level, we were still kind of able to stay afloat that way. But yeah, it was just really scary at first, like kind of not knowing how this was gonna pan out for us.
Mm-hmm. And that leads into my next question on how COVID has impacted your work and recovery brands. Like besides, you know, a lot of sales, just you not knowing what's gonna be in the future, has there been any other changes?
So kind of like everyone else, once we were quarantined and put on lockdown, everyone was working remotely. So that was kind of an adjustment within our company on our own, like how are we going to be productive when we're not in the same place and everything. So that kind of took a little while to get the hang of, but luckily we're pretty good at communicating. My stuff personally, marketing and customer service, is all online anyway, so there's not too much hands-on stuff that has to be done. But I think communication and just making sure we're staying on top of things like remotely was one of the biggest challenges, but we're able to kind of work through that as well.
What steps have you taken or are you taking to regain the footing of that business that is lost by the festivals and the restaurants and all of that?
Yeah, so we kind of started a new program at once COVID hit. We were like, we have to think of a new way to you know, still reach our customers and still, you know, have income coming in. So we started these online fundraising campaigns. So basically another organization or another company. So we've had a lot of like local restaurants that have closed down, have, you know, done a fundraiser. And basically how it works is that we'll host a 2-week fundraiser online. We'll make a custom landing page. The company or organization will create a shirt. It will have either like a 1 to 2 color print on it of their logo or their design. We'll host it online for 2 weeks, and then their customers can order through our website. And after the 2 weeks end, we write them a check for $10 of every t-shirt sold. So they don't have to invest in any money up front. So it's good for them, and then they're able to fundraise money along the way. So the shirts sell for $25. So $10 go to them, and the 15 kind of cover the cost for us. So that was kind of like the biggest thing that we did at the start of COVID that kind of helped keep, you know, the lights on, everything going like that.
And helped other people also.
Yeah, and it's helping other people as well, which was great because that's kind of the ethos of our business as well, is like we want to, you know, do good for the environment, also do good for our local community as well.
And has that been picked up a lot? Has it been utilized, that the fundraising?
Yeah, we've had that was kind of like our main focus for, I think it was like March, May, June, like those first kind of like 2.5 months where stuff was crazy. That was like our main focus, and we had some really successful campaigns, and we still have people doing fundraisers now, but luckily our regular wholesale business has kind of picked back up as well, as people are figuring out how to operate in this new time of COVID.
Well, that's great. That's a silver lining.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
especially when you can see kind of like the curve and, you know, come back up, that can tell you that hopefully, you know, we're coming out of this slightly like into a better place.
Yeah, definitely. And it's kind of crazy because, you know, when it first started, they're like, okay, go home for 2 weeks and then we'll reassess after that. And everyone was like, okay, it'll be then. And they're like, okay, it's then. And okay, it's then. But it's kind of kept going on and on. We don't really know when the end of it's going to be. So it's good to see people are starting to adapt and things are starting to pick up despite things not being that normal.
Yeah, there's still uncertainty.
It's just a new normal at this point.
Yeah.
Right.
So, you know, in customer services, communication is key. So how do you think your communication is important due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and what tools do you think you utilized during the whole thing, and what worked and what didn't work for you?
Especially about getting out the fundraising campaigns.
Yeah, so with COVID, we have a lot of events and trade shows and things that happen over the summer throughout these months where we're able to get in front of customers and meet new customers and everything. So with you know, the fundraisers we've had, you know, when you order something, you automatically subscribe to our email list. So we've been, with my job in particular with marketing, we've been putting more time and energy into creating more email campaigns, focusing on how we're communicating with our customers, our voice on social media, and just making like sure all of that is dialed in, because that's pretty much the only way that we can really, you know, communicate with our customers, since we're not able to be there physically or meet new people and share our story that way.
Yeah. So social media has been huge for you as well.
Yeah, it has been huge. Yeah, like I said, email marketing has been huge as well. Just making sure those campaigns are going out regularly and that we're, you know, communicating and still staying in front of our customers.
So I know Taylor mentioned the new normal. Do you think that your communication strategy during COVID will become your new normal? Meaning, you know, you'll keep up the additional outreach and connectivity?
I definitely think so, because I don't really see things ever going back to what they were, you know, before this started. And we don't really know when larger events will take place in the future. So just kind of like keeping an open mind and being able to adapt and try new things to see if they'll work, I think is probably, you know, our mindset going forward, and definitely keeping up with social media and digital marketing in general.
Of course. And so let's say the pandemic, you know, goes through 2021 and we just don't see any sort of coming to an end and everything is just staying as is right now. What do you think the differences you could make in your work could, you know, be? Like, what advancements more do you think you can make, and Yeah, what do you think you could do to keep pushing forward, even if we have, no light anytime soon?
I think it's kind of just expanding upon some of the wholesale programs we have in place now. So with the online fundraisers that we started, that's essentially a drop shipping business, which a lot of people who want to start a small business or something, they're really looking for a company to kind of offer them a full service program where they can basically just send them designs, and it's either a print on demand or a drop shipping business where they host it on their website and then it gets sent to us and we do kind of all the legwork. So I think moving forward, if things continue as they are, we're going to have to expand our business somehow. And I think that could be a key way to do it, because a lot of people, there's a lot of companies out there that do offer these drop shipping businesses, but their t-shirts are, made in China or made super cheap. They're literally like $3 a t-shirt, and you're like, how is this t-shirt $3? Like everything like that. So people want
not helping the environment, as well.
Yeah, definitely. And like continuing to spread that message, 'cause people do want that sustainable option, but there currently aren't too many. I don't think there's really any like business that's like ours that's making sustainable t-shirts and offering it at that level, which is what a lot of people are looking for right now.
Do you think you'll make different styles or come out with different styles? Like, how often do you do that? And if, the pandemic continues, what do you think will change in that aspect?
Yeah. So we try and I think come out with like a new style or two every year. We're a pretty small business, and the bread and butter of everything is wholesale for races or events. So like the main products that people want are just like a classic t-shirt or a hoodie that's soft that they can, just put their print on, and that's that. So I think, as we move forward, we'll definitely try and introduce new products, but probably, just with how everything is right now, keeping things pretty consistent to what we are offering.
If you had to give advice to a peer who works in retail, what would it be, kind of like looking back over the past 7 months, I think?
Long.
Too many months.
Yeah.
A peer in retail, I don't know. Maybe just, keep an open mind and try and find different streams of income. Don't maybe just rely on the one thing that you're doing right now, because as we've seen with COVID, that can just be taken away pretty quickly. So kind of having different avenues of how your business works, and not just having one sole thing.
Yeah. Being in Miami, we were basically a huge hotspot, like
we were the epicenter
for a while.
Yeah.
Hopefully we've calmed down a bit, but I know I was in retail for a very long time, and all my friends that still work at the store that I used to work at, they were doing nothing for at least 4 months. So that was really scary for, to see what
now
they're
even
through.
We're still not at the point where
It's
we're at like
25%
25% capacity.
Yeah.
So
no one wants to go shop. No one wants to try things on. So
Right.
online has been huge.
Which is great for you, because essentially we have packages being delivered every day because we're not going to a location.
Yeah.
For a long time, and then now because we're still sort of skirting.
Yeah, and I was gonna say that's great that you didn't have to go through that. You've maintained, and you and your company have maintained your online presence, which is a key right now. But what would you say if you had a store and like you just had to close it down for a while?
I would definitely advise that store to try and go online with as much as they can. You have this time, you can be in your store by yourself, take pictures of everything, get it up on your website. We've started offering like curbside pickup for online orders. So if you're local to the area, you can order online, but then, skip that shipping fee and just come pick it up at the store, and we'll have it waiting for you. So kind of, I guess, finding like little ways that you can kind of still offer your services, that just are not in person.
That makes a huge difference, honestly, like those like little shipping fees, and it's meaningful, I feel like, to your customers. So unfortunately, I know my household.
This is a COVID confession.
This is a
COVID confession.
I know my household, please guilt me to it. We're a family of 5, 2 young, angsty teen boys just going through everything. During the pandemic, we became hoarders, being in the epicenter.
Yeah. Self-confessed COVID.
Yes. So many cases of water, so much toilet paper, and we live in Florida, so we were kind of going through a corona cane.
Right, where we've had 2 hurricanes. We had a tropical storm last night. So we have, we're supply central.
Yeah. So I mean, like at least like 5 cases of water bottles, not just like gallon jugs, but water bottles. Like my brothers just go through them. Like I can say I have like my little mason jar, and I just refill my cup, but my brothers don't get it. So we kept that up. Can you shed some light on that with, alternatives, options of, just being resourceful and not going through things? It's hard during a hurricane, but I've seen people fill up their bathtubs during a hurricane. But do you have any other
I'm
options?
not so sure I'm drinking bathtub water.
I think it's more like flushing your toilet.
Okay.
But I mean, people do it. You never know.
Worst comes to worst, I'm drinking tub water.
So I mean, obviously clean drinking water is so vitally important that I think, when it's a threat that could be, taken away for a little while, it's good to have stuff on hand. And the good thing about water bottles is it's like a number 1 recyclable plastic, which means that's a really high quality plastic that can be recycled. But I guess some tips maybe of other ways you can get the water that's not individual water bottles. I know most grocery stores have those gigantic jugs, those refillable jugs. So you can always get some of those.
That you would
so
see
that's
water
you're still so you're still getting your clean water and everything, but it's a little bit more reusable than just like the single-use water bottles. I know there's some companies that make like boxed water. I don't know if they offer that in like cases, and it's probably going to be more expensive, so I don't know if that's the most like economical option for everyone. But I guess my biggest tip would be to try and get as many like reusable or larger containers to fill up with water opposed to smaller drinking water, because once you have it, you can put it in water bottles and go about your day.
Of course. Do you think, or have you seen in your business that recycling has gone up, that there's more recyclable materials available? Because we were thinking, since everyone's at home and eating at home and, buying your million water bottles, that there might be a silver lining, like the flip side to that is that there's more recyclable materials available for businesses such as yourself.
So I definitely know that plastic consumption has gone up because of COVID. And I mean, I know at my household, like throughout those months we're like cooking everything, like our recycling bin was like overflowing every 2 weeks that they come to pick it up.
Which I don't feel is enough. I feel like they come get the trash 4 times in 2 weeks, but they only get the recycling once every 2 weeks. And we ended up having to get 2 recycling bins. We had to ask for another one because it was like we're overwhelmed.
If you're like
do that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're on top of your recycling, it fills up like pretty quickly. But unfortunately, I feel like the amount that's recycled is still not as much. I know like in the US alone, like the amount of recyclables that actually end up getting recycled is like less than 9%. It's like 8.4, I think. And that's like declining annually. And the amount of new plastic that's being created is going up like 4 to 5% every year. So like we're still facing like a huge issue. With Recover's business, we never really have an issue getting the plastic. I feel like there's always enough of that to go around. And honestly, I was talking about it with some of my coworkers the other day, like the more that companies adapt using like recycled PET, this non-virgin polyester in their clothes, the more of a demand there is for these recycled goods and these recycled products, which is what we want, because like we can make as many t-shirts as we want, but it's, you know, it's gonna help spread the message of recycling, but in the grand picture, the bigger picture, it's not gonna, you know, solve the problem on its own. So the more and more companies.
What you do from your marketing role is education.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. So that's kind of, you know, a type of post that we like to do every so often. In our feed is, you know, our process and some, you know, facts about recycling and how you can, you know, be better about it, and just like spreading that message. Our t-shirts, we always like to say our t-shirts are essentially 8 recycled plastic bottles. So 8 bottles go into every shirt that's made.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And on their website, there's a little fun diagram that goes through all the stages of how it goes from a water bottle to a t-shirt.
Yeah, I can explain that really quickly for anyone watching. So basically where our products come from, we source plastic from just waste management facilities, recycling centers. So that plastic is washed and then it's chopped into a flake, and those little flakes are then melted into pellets. And then to make the yarn, they're basically heated and pushed through this thing that looks like a shower head. So it's extruded into this fine yarn that's almost floss-like. And so then that is either for our recycled PET or our sport shirts, that fiber is just used and then it's like knitted and weaved. And then for our cotton t-shirts, our 50-50 blend, it's blended with the upcycled cotton fibers to then be knit and sewn into a t-shirt.
That's very cool. It's like little like spaghetti.
It kind of reminds
yeah.
me of the picture in a way.
Yeah.
It's like all melted and then it goes through something and it comes out. Something great.
Yeah.
Yeah, but enough before. So from what Deidre asked before, having maybe more recyclables or maybe less, how do you think that's impacted work? I mean, you said you always have enough recyclables to make sure. Mm-hmm. Has there ever been a shortage in any way, or?
We haven't come across any shortages that I know of plastic being available. It's definitely, you know, super important to continue to recycle, because I know there's like a lot of news out there saying, you know, all this stuff you sent to the recycling center is either going to the landfill anyways, or, you know, being incinerated, or unfortunately just straight up dumped into the ocean. But, you know,
that's actually our next question, which is the do's and don'ts of recycling.
Yes.
I feel like a lot of people put stuff into the recycling that really isn't recyclable. And that's when you get, like you said, where they're having to throw out a lot of stuff because it's not right.
Right. So I guess, yeah, going into that, basically it's super important to recycle, but, you know, back when, I think like when I was really, really young, but when my parents were young, you used to have to separate all of your recyclables, like by colored glass, paper, cardboard, all of that. And then they would come pick it up separately. But since we've started single stream recycling, where you just throw everything into one bin and bucket, it gets confusing for people to what they can and can't recycle. So they'll kind of do this thing called wishful recycling, where they're like, well, it's made out of plastic, let me just throw it in anyways, and like they'll sort it down the line. But the infrastructure at these recycling facilities is not necessarily up to par to be able to sort things that much. So if it's too contaminated, they'll just have to end up throwing it away, the whole batch of recycling that they're using.
What's contaminated?
So contaminated is that it's a plastic that's not recycled. So basically we have
to have the little symbol to be.
Yeah. So we have recycling, like 1 and 2 is like, those are good plastic. Those can always be recycled. That's like your water bottles or shampoo containers or detergent or milk jugs, anything like that. Then like the numbers.
Do they be washed out?
Yeah, you should always wash your recycling too. But yeah, like people will end up putting in like that thin plastic or plastic grocery bags, or if you put your recycling in a garbage bag and then throw the garbage bag into your recycling bin, that garbage bag is not recyclable.
So anything inside of it, what happens to that?
It has a high possibility of it just being thrown away. So that's why our actual recycling rate is only like 8.4%.
That's like
I
scary.
put all of our stuff in a garbage bag.
That's a huge PSA.
And it's
mind blown.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because people want to do like the right thing. They want to recycle, they want to do their part, but we make it like so hard. And some companies, plastics are part recyclable of their packaging and part not recyclable, but like you as a consumer don't know that. Like you're not going to know how to separate that or whatever. So I guess my biggest tip for finding out what you can and can't recycle, because it changes from county to county too, based on your facility and what they can process or not, is to go onto your county's website. And normally there's like a recycling or waste management part of the website where you can find what you can and can't recycle.
There's
the myth
of the cap of the water bottle. Is it recyclable or not?
I believe it is recyclable.
Do you have to detach?
I don't think you have to retouch. I think you can just throw the whole thing in there.
Okay, so
I've been told that you have, like, adamantly so.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, it was by a teenager who was convinced, trust me, bro, you have to take, the cap isn't recyclable.
Yeah, I've been told by my best friend's mom, they always throw away the cap
They
and
throw
just put
trash
yeah.
and then the bottle in the recycling.
I think people used to say that it would like clog up the machines or something if you recycle the cap, but I believe we've advanced a little bit to where we can process the cap now. But a rule of thumb is if you are questioning if something is or isn't recyclable, you should probably just throw it away.
Right, because then you don't want to contaminate everything.
Right, because all your numbers are recyclable in some way, but if it doesn't have a number or you're just questioning it a lot, it's unfortunate, but the best route to go, I think, is just to throw it in the trash.
I know this is recyclable. Yeah.
The facilities, it's machines or it's hand done?
It's a little bit of both. I think at these recycling facilities, there's workers who help sort things out, and then I think part of it's done by machines as well.
Okay. So let's say I see on like a bunch of to-go containers, a lot of restaurants and places are going out to like more cardboard and stuff like that, and they say it's recyclable, but there's food in the cardboard, and cardboard,
so you have to clean it.
How do you clean cardboard? Wash it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure about this one because I tried to recycle a pizza box one time and my mom was like, you can't put that in there. It has pizza grease all over it. And I was like, what are you talking about? It's like cardboard.
There's things that you can't, clean.
So that's where the iffiness comes in.
Yeah.
And then you toss it into the trash if it's iffy so that you don't ruin all of your bin that you've done.
And it sucks because all these companies are going into yes, we're using cardboard, not plastic. Here you go, we're recycling, and it's just what are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I still think cardboard or those paper products, they are, okay, so those paper products are compostable. So I know there's not too many commercial compost places, but if you have compost in your backyard, you can always shred those up and just put it in there, and that's just back into organic matter and stuff. So
yeah, we're building a compost at my house, so
good. Yeah, I love composting.
I like camping and firewood. I like building a fire.
Yeah, we need that in Miami.
We turned down the air super low, which is probably why our air conditioner is broken at the moment. And build fires.
Okay,
yeah.
it's always a nice thing, a little.
It's romantic.
Yeah, it's very romantic. So in 5 years from now, what do you expect the future of your business to look like, and how, what you've taken from the pandemic and put it into the future of your work?
So I think the pandemic has taught us just to be flexible and open to new ideas and new ways of doing our business. I think in 5 years, we'll try and automate some of our processes more. And that's not like robots like coming in or anything. It's just kind of like our systems that we use, a lot are done partially by hand. So with automation, increase in some of these technologies, we can, you know, make it easier for us and make it easier for the customer too, in how we do some of our work. But I think focusing on online sales a lot too, because I think I've heard like what this pandemic has done is pushed e-commerce forward about 5 years. And, you know, that's the direction I was heading in anyways. It's just really sped up the process. So staying on top of like the newest trends in e-commerce.
We have some clients in e-commerce, and we were like looking, and Amazon did twice as better now than in the holiday season or something crazy.
Yeah, online sales.
Amazon. I have issues with Amazon.
Yeah.
So just imagine 5 years from now, it's gonna be everywhere times 10. So
Yeah.
So keeping in mind that we probably all are much more aware of the possibility that a pandemic could hit at any time, because one would likely have never thought, although there are the doomsday people. But now that we are, you know, in the midst of it, thinking that it could happen again, if there were to be another pandemic, would you do anything differently in your business in the beginning stages?
I think kind of like I mentioned before, like being able to have multiple income streams, or not necessarily, just like focusing on one thing. I think like with doing the online fundraisers, we were able to kind of adapt and really, you know, create a new stream of business for us. So I think kind of like I've mentioned before, just keeping an open mind about new possibilities and like new ways of making money.
of course, and like this could be personal, this could be professional, but what do you think is the biggest lesson that this pandemic has taught you?
I think personally, I think it was good for everyone to slow down a little bit, because even before there was even a threat of a pandemic, like just looking at society, I was always kind of thinking we're always like going like so fast, and always trying to get to the next better thing. It's just go, go, go. I'm like, this has got to come to a halting stop at some point. Like I kind of had that thought, and
the world is going to have burnout.
Yeah, I'm like, something is going to happen that has to like tell us to chill. And unfortunately, I think this pandemic did that, and I think it kind of grounded some people and centered us to kind of think outside of our daily lives too, kind of more on a world level. So I think it kind of helped me slow down a little bit, and kind of just appreciate my health, for one. Being healthy and able to, you know, go about my day normally is a blessing, and just, you know, really connect with those who are really close to you in life, friends and family.
It's ironic because, you know, it did slow us down immensely. Like I am so much closer to all my close friends because we've had to work so much harder to be able to
keep
communicate.
that relationship going.
But
Yeah.
it feels like March was last week. So it feels like it's been a
gosh.
blink of an eye, and it's been 7 months of quarantine.
It's insane.
So pretty crazy, but like you said, we have definitely slowed down. Like, I mean, there's definitely like a lot more technology, like everyone's Zooming. What was Zoom before the pandemic?
Right.
So
Yeah.
If we had only bought Zoom stock.
I know. We'd be sitting on piles of hundreds.
Yeah, instead of chairs from IKEA.
But yeah, I think that's a really good thing to point out, is just that, you know, slow down, embrace what you have.
Well, and slowing down, especially even for us, like as a company, we are still busy with clients, but we've taken the time to do things like coffee and COVID and focus on our own social media and our own outreach and our own branding, our website, things like that, like where we in the past, it was all client focused, you know, and so we've had time to, you know, nights, weekends, you know, it is Sunday morning. Thank you.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But it's given us also that time to look at our own brand and say, you know, what could we be doing differently?
Yeah, definitely. And kind of going off that as well, all the downtime I think has given people time to work on their personal projects as well, like little side hustles, if you will, which has been awesome because, like I've mentioned with Recover, having those multiple streams, I think that's so important for your personal finance as well, because if you were to lose your job or you are to lose your job due to another pandemic or unfortunate case like this, you know, not being able to rely on those multiple different streams, I think is so important.
Yeah, I painted an 8-foot mural for 3 months.
Yes, I saw that and it looks amazing.
So I'm trying to start it out as like an actual business. We'll see where it takes me, but I love it, and it's definitely like,
She bought a domain name yesterday, so she's
Yay!
a website, and we're gonna do an Etsy shop for her.
it's exciting.
Fun.
I wouldn't have done that unless it was
Right.
I wouldn't have had the time. I spent 6 hours a day, and you're right, like it just, you know, like it wasn't even just for like, you know, like a stream of income, but my mental health as well, because it made me stop thinking about the crazy and focus on something which really
Yeah,
Control.
yeah.
definitely. Creative outlets are so important.
Yeah. So on a personal note, as we wrap up our last 2 questions, did you contract COVID-19 during the craziness?
I did not. I was scared a couple of times because when it first, like right at the beginning of March, I was visiting a friend in Delaware and I had flown to and from Philly, and that was right. My parents were texting me like every other second, like social distance, like stay home, all this, and we're, you know, going about our normal lives. So then on that plane ride back, I felt like I had a cold, and I did have a cold, but I was like, oh my gosh, like I am infecting everyone. So that was kind of scary, but obviously I didn't have it. And then since then I've traveled to California and back and got tested and didn't get it as well.
I feel like anytime someone coughs or sneezes, or like I'm prone to sinus infections, and as soon as you get one, you're like, oh my God, it's COVID, you know?
Yeah.
And then thankfully it hasn't been for us either.
How many times have you gotten tested?
Just once.
Oh, no.
Just once after my travels, because I needed to get tested before I went back to work to make sure I was good.
Taylor, how many for you?
I've gotten tested 3 times.
3 times.
Yeah.
4.
Winner.
Yeah.
And one time
One time
it
it
was
was 2 nostrils and 1 test.
and a
Oh
blood.
my gosh.
And
He went in both of mine too. It was not comfortable. And then it was like he was asking me questions because I was like, oh, I'm getting tested because I was traveling from California. And he was like, oh, how is California? As he's like getting off there. And I'm like,
You're in my brain.
"Good." I'm like, I can't talk right now.
What are you doing?
Right.
So last question, and thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. You know, social media, we use hashtags to get involved with so many other people. If you can make a hashtag for your life or for you, what would it be?
I feel like right now it's a common hashtag, but I would say hashtag blessed.
I like
that.
it.
Yeah.
We
think
are
that
very blessed.
I'm sticking
Yeah.
with mine. It's something that it's like a Yiddish term. My mom always says it's hashtag oy vey. It's just everything is oy vey. I mean, I feel like I say it 10 times a day at work. It's just like everything's really chaotic, but it's, you know, we gotta
What
make
are you
it.
gonna do?
You gotta
Yeah.
make do with it.
Lemonades out of
Yeah.
Have you switched yours up a bit?
I'm still hashtag anyways.
You're so
Because-
optimistic. And we're
I feel like it's like what are you gonna do? Like
Yeah.
anyway,
Right. Like moving on, like on
Yeah,
to the next.
that blew up in my face. My bad. Like
Anyways.
we're on to the next
just
thing.
reminds me of like that's a tomorrow problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I used to say that all the time. Deal with it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Story of our lives.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Morgan, for joining us. It was such a great conversation, and I think we personally learned so much, and I'm sure anyone that's listening has learned so much, and I think we're going to take way more steps on recycling and being so much more conscious on what we do and how we do it.
Recover brands. We're buying
Yes.
shirts.
Yeah, I love all the sportswear stuff, and like it's just like I love men's clothing, so I was just like putting men's clothing in my shopping cart when I was on the website. What am I doing?
Yeah.
But it's so cute. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
Coffee and Co.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been really awesome. I've loved talking about recover, recycling, COVID in general, and just the state of the world. So thank you so much.
So much
Thank
again.
you.
Have a great
Much
one.
appreciated.
Bye.